My name is Chelsea Sikora. I'm the Director of Brand and Communications. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how every business has a voice inside our new Courtesy Level Investor Program. We come to you from the Wynn Technology Studio here in the Chamber office and want to thank our media sponsor, Royal Credit Union. Dave, take it away.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Dave Miner, and I'm the President and CEO for the Eau Claire Area Chamber of Commerce. We're here with Teva Dekel, one of our key chamber investors and owner of Williams Diamond Center, to talk today about our new program that we launched in September, our Courtesy Level Investors. This was a program that we launched back in September, as I said, and it's about getting small businesses involved with the chamber and a way to really share with them what we do as an organization and how we affect businesses of all sizes across the Chippewa Valley area. So, Teva, welcome, and really appreciate you being part of the show today.
Thank you so much. I am very honored to be here. First podcast ever, so this is kind of exciting. So thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So let's first talk a little bit about your journey to be a small business owner, which is not that uncommon for a small business person. How did you get there? So give a little background maybe on yourself so the few people who don't know you, understand who you are and what your journey was like to be a small business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to jump back a little bit here, but I won't make this really long. So I came here about 12 years ago, 9 years previous to being here in Eau Claire. I was a fashion designer, and I lived between New York, the Middle East, and Europe. Ended up coming home for reasons of family, and Eau Claire happened to be the place we landed. I knew that I'd have to pivot in terms of what I was going to do, probably work-wise, and I ended up working at Williams Diamond Center, and they had just taken on a new design program, and I took that on really fast, really quick, and realized that jewelry is something I really loved. Especially designing stuff, I think when you're doing that for people, you are so much more involved in the process, and that process can be so emotional because you're with that client making something beautiful, whether it is celebrating love, celebrating a loved one, or doing something very special for somebody. And jewelry for me was so different than clothing because, yeah, you could buy a beautiful gown or a beautiful sweater, but, you wear it once, you wear it twice, and it kind of disappears. But jewelry, when you're given a piece of jewelry, it stays with you, and it's that tangible thing, that connection to emotion. So I fell madly in love with the business and started working with the previous owner, Denise Wurtzel, on what it would be like to take this over. It was, of course, a daunting mountain to climb, but little by little, you save away, you do what you can, you make the right connections, and you start building that dream. And it did come to pass that finally I had to go to the bank and decide, am I jumping off this cliff?
Right.
And I hope I have the wings to fly. It is no small task. I'm sure other small business owners out there know that there are sleepless nights, there are terrifying things. You're responsible for other people and their mortgages and their food bills and all this other stuff. That's not just you in this. You're really creating your own little world, and you got to kind of hold it up. But I love what I do. I believe in what I do, and I'm excited to do it every day,
And that's, I think that passion that obviously people can hear in your voice, as you just said, really is almost to every small business person, is you have that passion, you love your widget, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. Now can I do this? And I've said this my whole life in the chamber world, I don't think enough people understand that for a small business owner to understand what you just said is that you have other lives that are dependent on you to make their mortgage payment, feed whatever it is, to go in every day. Am I going to make enough money today so I can pay all them first before you pay yourself?
100%.
So I just congratulate you. I think again, sometimes people don't gather or understand totally what a small business owner goes through on a daily basis. And I think in our world today, it's even more critical to support those businesses because it is our community. It is who we are. And I remind people, when we look at our 1,000-some investors, 72, almost 73% are small businesses of 25 and under. And it's, they hear the big companies, then they see that splash, but it's people like yourself that just get up every morning and go do what you do without a lot of fanfare. And so from me, my friend, congratulations to what you've been able to do over the last couple of years.
Thank you so much. That honestly means a ton. Seriously, thank you.
Well, you bet.
Thank you.
So as we talk about this a little bit, the courtesy model, again, just kind of remind folks, and maybe for those who haven't known, this really has been something we've been looking at for several years here at the Chamber. It really goes back to COVID, when pretty much the world shut down. A lot of chambers across the country were trying to figure out what they were going to do. They didn't have events. They didn't do things. But I would say for our chamber, it was one of the busiest times for us throughout my career. And then we jump ahead a year and a half, and we closed down 2 hospitals and 11, 12 some clinics across our region. And again, at both those times, the chamber really highlighted to me of what we do is we stand up for the community, because as I mentioned, we have 1,000+ investors, but it's really the 50,000 employees that we feel we're responsible for. And those 2 cases highlighted for my board this opportunity to say, you know what, we need to really show the small businesses, those with 5 or fewer employees, that we want to engage with them, and we want to be able to show them the value of what we can bring. So, Teva, I guess one of the first questions I would pose to you is, when you first heard about this and I came to you to kind of ask you to be the spokesperson, help us launch this, what did you see within this program that you felt was important for the small businesses in our area to take advantage of?
I think this opportunity is very exciting, and I think what you guys are doing here is very exciting. Anybody who's in a situation of having 5 or fewer employees and, really trying to streamline their world and make things work, having this opportunity to join this fantastic organization without any financial risk or worrying about, will I be able to pay my dues, is incredible. The opportunity is huge, because my feeling is these people who are doing things right off and some of this is probably just starting, they're just starting something new, they're doing something new, but they're going to be tomorrow's leaders possibly, in our community. And these are the people that we should be, for lack of a better word, watering to make sure they can grow and have access to what I think the Chamber does beautifully, which is networking and access to resources, and all of the opportunities I believe that the Chamber gives us. Things like Leadership Eau Claire, those kind of workshops, educational workshops, are so essential to be able to get a part of. And I really am plugging Leadership Eau Claire because I did it in 2016. I loved my class. I loved the experience. And I think anybody who is out there who is new, 1, get involved here at the Chamber, and 2, try to get into that program, because it's incredible.
Great, yeah.
And I do believe, and I could be wrong here, but I do think there is some financial assistance
also
for programs like that. And that's, I think, just one of the many things that the Chamber does that helps people really, 1, get to know Eau Claire, and 2, get to know the Chamber.
Well, and I think to your point, it is, yes, there is scholarships for the program, but it is a program where I'm always very pleased to at the end of every year, I'm and it's usually from Eau Claire residents who say, I learned more about my community than I thought I ever knew was going on. But it's that opportunity to build that network that you're going to, I tell people coming into it, there's no other way you can build a network of 40 individuals that will stick around you for the most time, for a lifetime, in any other way, because they're coming from all avenues. So we certainly appreciate your endorsement of that. I think it is a great program, and it is a way for people to get engaged. So
100%.
So, when we look at, and you talked about, I like your analogy of watering these businesses. And one of the stories I shared early on with my board is we don't know the next big company coming out of these, right? I mean, when we look back and say, maybe if we wouldn't have been supporters of Royal Tire Factory when it closed, look what came out of that being Royal Credit Union.
Yeah.
35 years ago, no one knew what that was going to become, but look what it is today.
Yeah.
But had we not been partners and the chamber had worked with them and continued that relationship, and that's in part what I see too. It's like out of these, as we sit here today, a little over a month and a half in, we're at, I believe it is 98 or 99 new courtesy level investors.
Wow, incredible.
We don't know that one that could become that RCU. But because we did nurture it, because we did take the time to build that relationship and then maintain that, that's what's going to be critical for our area.
Yeah,
so
that is awesome, and that's 100% true.
It is. And again, I think for us, as we look at this, and you and I have talked, Teva, is really for us to be able to share what we do. So many small businesses, they look at that first level of $500, and I totally understand it. They can't do that. Again, they're trying to pay the bills. They're trying to do this, whatever. So they don't get information about who we are. They don't learn about the leadership program, and they don't learn about our advocacy or workforce. So we have this block in between us. And that's, for me, what this really is all about, is to be able to communicate with those 100-some businesses over the time frame, to share with them what we do as an organization, and that we're greater than just the big companies or just the financial or whatever it may be. It goes beyond that. And it's a way for us to do that in a very friendly partnership way of how do we grow together. Because one of the things that I think I've been able to help people understand here is that the chamber is really Switzerland is the best way to put it. I've tried pies, I've tried donuts. Switzerland works, but
Great
just to
chocolate.
say, it is. There we go. But we're that independent. We're the ones that are trying to bring all the different sides together to be able to share, and this is just certainly one way to do that. So, when you look at this program and we talk about this, what long-term outcomes would you hope to see as a small business that could benefit, even as you're a small business, but even those that fit this category of five or less? What would you hope they would get out of this?
I think the opportunity to network.
Okay.
I think for me, I love so much about the chamber. I'm such a huge fan, but when I think about all the events you can attend, all the things you can do, the thing here in this community, and I think it goes for probably everything, is it's always about relationships. It's always about getting to know people. The more people you get to know, the more people you talk about your business story and where you are and your passions, I think it is for the very best. So I would say networking is one of the biggest things. So get to our annual, or yearly event. If there's a business hours, after hours opportunity, get to it. The more people you can talk to, the more people you can engage with, the better off you're going to be. It's really about trying to build all those bridges. And it might not be like you're talking to somebody who's necessarily in your field, but maybe whatever you may be doing, it might be like, oh yeah, I remember Joe, we talked, and he's just starting this thing with roofing or something. And obviously we're all roofing because of that storm last year.
Still dealing with it.
Word of mouth is probably the most important detail, I think, to any small business. And I think by continuing to engage with the chamber or starting to engage with the chamber is the best way to do that.
Well, and to that point, I think, as you said, I think everybody wants that relationship, especially with a small business. You want to be recognized when you walk in. You want somebody to remember you, that maybe you were here last week, 3 months ago, whatever. But and for people that helps them support that, other than just walking in and kind of being just another number per se. So
right.
I think for small businesses, it is about building that relationship to help you grow, but also building your relationship with your customer as well.
100%.
And so with that, how do you, being in the business you're in, how do you help your staff focus a little bit on building those relationships?
I always tell my staff every time they're out in the community, whether they're buying a coffee at a local coffee place or Starbucks, that they are an ambassador for Williams Diamond Center, and everything they do can reflect on us.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean I'm asking them to work after hours, but if you're standing in line, oh, what a beautiful ring you have. Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, did you know I work at a jewelry store? We do repairs, things like this, or we do a lot of custom design work. We're a custom house. Oh, really? I didn't know that. So it's like even small conversations that you have waiting in a grocery line or anywhere else is, I think, essential. And as long as everybody knows that, and understands the value of that, you're going to go places.
Yeah. And I think, again, it's when we look at the backbone, that's what it's all about. Is that relationship people can build with a small business owner, whether that's retail or service or, restaurants, whatever it may be. I just think that that's critical for all of us to understand how we make sure that we keep the fabric of our community. And again, as it takes all of these businesses to coexist to make everything work. I think one of the things that is spectacular of the Chippewa Valley area is we have such a variety of all different businesses, because again, we were talking before we started here, about art in our community and things like that. Yep. It takes all of those things to be able to help us grow, but to keep, the opportunities for people to find their niche and to figure out how do they fit in, but where's that connection within the community? So, again, just to kind of go backwards here just a little bit, as we talk about, for us here at the Chamber, again, this is part of our growth. I believe we are a very strong chamber within the state and within our region. But again, as we look at that long-term growth and how do we keep people involved, certainly for us, it is a way for people to, as you said, get involved, become part of it. One of the things when I came, you were part of our annual dinner committee and things like that. Speak a little bit about why you feel it is really important for small business to get involved at whatever level's good for them.
Right. Well, again, I think that putting yourself out there is always the right thing to do. Sometimes not always the most comfortable thing to do, but trying to figure out what works for you and what makes sense for you. But at least if you're getting out there and doing something, your voice is being heard, your face is being recognized. It's really a very helpful way to continue what I call branding, or branding through kindness, participating in any sort of event or any of the things that the Chamber does, or even just showing up at Chamber events. That in itself is a really big deal. So I think just continually being present, and trying to figure out what makes sense for you in that work balance sort of a space. Because I know we all need to be in our shops as well, but it is good to get out there and be seen.
And I just would echo that. It's, one of the things that I want people to understand is you have to find your level of involvement. And that's going to change over the years. Again, as an employee, when Denise owned it, she gave you the ability to be part of those committees. When you bought the business, you called me and just said, hey, I need to focus on this today. And absolutely, right. We understand that. And I think for people listening to, where is that avenue for you? Because again, to build your business, you need those connections. You Correct. Need to understand what's going on in the community, what's happening. So as you look at growth, you're taking in as much information as possible of what's happening. But yet, again, you still have to focus on what's going on in the day-to-day world. Correct. One of the things that really I've been very happy looking at that list of current courtesy level investors is the level of diversity. I mean, I told somebody last week I don't know, we could have handpicked a more interesting but diverse group of businesses. And what's really interesting, though, is that a fair amount of them I would call stay-at-home businesses or operating. They're an accountant or they're a lawyer or whatever. And so when we look at this again really is open to businesses across the board with that 5 or fewer employees. But it's their opportunity to learn. It's their opportunity to do so. Within that group of 5 or fewer, if I were to ask you, what more could we do? Or for a small business as yourself, is there something the Chamber could do to assist you more in that ability to grow?
Wow, that's a really good question. One, because I already feel very fulfilled from the Chamber, and I'm very grateful for the Chamber. That's a really good question. I might have to think on that.
That's
a
fine.
Little bit,
yeah, no.
To be honest, I always like events. I personally always love an event. If there was another event, maybe a midsummer event, that would be fabulous. I'm all for more events because I like to show up to things. I love to see people. And it's funny because I think of all the friends I do have in the chamber. Sometimes you see some of these people only at chamber events.
Correct.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's just like a family reunion sometimes.
It is, yes. Yep.
So I would say I love events. I would be happy to see more of them, but I, of course, know that comes at a price as well.
Yes.
But I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you're right. Last week we just did Bravo to Business, and I saw a couple of people there. That's the one time a year I know they're going to come.
Yep.
Because that's the thing they love. That's where they get their their return on everything. Yep. But it's just, again, and I just would, again, as we all know, events are fun. They do take a work, but also is that the connection you need too,
right?
And we do have a fair amount of people that's what they look forward to, whether it's annual meeting or Casino Royale or Bravo to Business or even a golf fight. That's the one thing. Again, last week at Bravo, I had a couple of people come up to me and they were like, "Did you know so and so never really got away from over here?" And I'm like, but they came to the event, they got what they wanted out of it, and they left with a smile on their face. I'm happy. If that's what they want, to your point, they were networking all night. That's what was important to them, is to have that time to look at our record crowd of over 300 people and be able to say, I'm done at the end of the night. I remember the first year we went to the Pablo with with our annual meeting, and we were just shy of 900 people. And at the end of the night, Jerry Jacobson walked up to me, looked me in the eye, and he said, "David, I love this event. I got to see everybody that I needed to see for the year. It's a wrap. I'm going home." And I just, it was pretty much after everybody had left, and I just thought that's, for me, that really was that confirmation that what the event really was for everybody was right there. Is that one thing that I got to see everybody I needed to see. So, kind of bouncing all over here, but this is good. I love this. I love a free-flowing organic conversation. Let's take it a little bit farther here and where we're going. We're sitting here a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
What is, for a small business owner in your industry, what is the next 6 to 8 weeks like for you? I think everybody, gets a little bit, we're celebrating Christmas before, Halloween now and everything. Yep. But what does that retail world look like for you?
So it is always the most exciting time of the year, but it also can be the most terrifying time of the year. Chelsea and I were just having a conversation before all of this, and there is that always that anticipation and concern that people are walking through the door, that people are looking and are interested in something new, something fabulous, something sparkly, even small things. I always say what we do at Williams Diamond Center is so good because we have something for everybody, no matter the budget or the story. So the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, hopefully I'm not sitting at my desk. I am hoping just to be out front and helping people. That's the goal.
So when you look at the retail industry today, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges?
I would say, especially for small businesses like mine, and like so many others, is probably fighting with larger online retailers. There's a ton out there, but what those retailers can never do for you online is be a smiling and welcoming face.
Sure.
Specifically in my world, because it's jewelry, if you have something happen to your ring that you purchased from me and you come walking in the door, I'm going to help you.
Right.
1, you bought it from me. 2, I really care. And 3, it's super important that I take care of you through this. That can't happen in sometimes really big online retailers. You're a number. Maybe it doesn't work out the way you want it to. You have really no connection to somebody you can come and talk to. I have people who text me at like midnight saying, "Oh gosh, I should be doing this and this with my jewelry. Is that okay?" And yes, absolutely. If you don't want to clean it yourself, come in. If you're scared to do it, I will do it myself. I will polish your silver, whatever it may be. I'm happy to do so. And I think that kind of customer service is really not dead, and
No.
we have to keep it alive. And I think that's what we at Williams Diamond Center do very well, is try to take care of people.
And I think, for all small businesses, that's the bottom line right there.
Right.
It's, are you taking care of your customers? And
Right.
for us, this is where the courtesy level program comes in,
Right.
is we're taking care of our customers. We're taking care of the smallest of the small businesses that, again, have 5 or fewer. And I know we keep saying that, but I just want people to understand
Yep.
that but for us as an organization, that's how I feel that we're doing for our customer as you are for yours, is trying to meet their needs, trying to help them. Because again, every single small business, we get to that 5-year point that they get to. And for most people, you don't understand, small businesses, it's critical. If you make 5 years, the percentage that stick around for years to come grows exponentially. And so for us, it's about how are we helping our customer, which in the end, again, is really the community. Because for every small business that makes it, when you look at what you're going to support, and again, certainly within our communities today across our country, there's no lack of people coming to you asking for support, asking for donations, asking for sponsorships. And so again, this all really does work together and has to, or as a community, we don't grow.
Right.
So you talked a little bit about your past, how you got to Eau Claire a little bit, some of that. What is, from your point of view, what is your perspective of what needs to happen for Eau Claire to grow and continue where we're going?
Yeah, so I think our trajectory is really good. We were talking previous to this about our art scene and about the Pablo and all the things that we have going. I think that we just have to keep on supporting the things that we love. So if we want to have really good shows coming to the Pablo, show up once or twice a year. If you want to participate in the music scene, make sure you get tickets. It's this trajectory could continue to change Eau Claire. And it's our small businesses that really give our town its character, And I think, and I'm just going to go back to the point that these businesses, 5 people or less, they just bring more voices to the table.
Correct.
They bring a lot more diversity.
Yes.
And this is the fabric of our business community. We need these people to participate.
We do. Yep.
And with that being, I'm sorry, I'm all over the board here.
Don't worry, so am I. So this is going good, though.
I'm all over the board here, but this is why we have to support our small businesses, and this is why we have to remember to shop local, and this is why we have to remember to look to our neighbors who have small businesses and support them. Because you're right. Our small businesses, we do a ton in terms of donating to a lot of causes. We support a lot of causes, and it's always continual. And I think as long as we continue creating this mesh fiber between small businesses, consumers, and all the things that we want to build here in Eau Claire, whether it be with the arts or with anything else, this has to be a healthy infrastructure. And I think what you guys are doing here at the Chamber is just bolstering that health.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Really. I'm so passionate about this project. I think it is so cool.
Thank you. Well, and I think, one of the things I always ask people, when they, when I get them in a conversation about supporting small businesses, and they, one of the things I'm always good at saying, okay, if you're not supporting it, then are you asking those big companies or those online retailers that are not in our community in all way, are you asking them for your donation?
Right.
People need to understand, if you want community donation, if you want business to support them, at some level, you also need to then support them.
Correct.
And again, I think that level here is very good, because again, when I go back to COVID and remember all of the companies that stood up to help everybody, every week where I thought, okay, that there's no one that can top that one. And I got proven wrong, thankfully, every single time. It's like, no, one more company did this or one more company did that to make sure that we took care of everybody. And I think that's what makes one of the things that is the fabric of our community and the whole valley, is that ability to support each other. So as we go into, the next, 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere in there, you start doing all your shopping, really would encourage people, take a look at what can you buy here. Again, to your point, you can probably find it cheaper somewhere else online, but when it's wrong,
Right.
what's going to happen?
Right.
And again, to understand, maybe you do spend a little bit more, but does that mean that that money is going to be recycled in our community 6,
Right.
7, 8, 9 times? What's the importance of that? And I think together, if we do those things, then our community is going to stay on this trajectory. We are going to reach those goals that they talked about where we'll be by 2050. And it's just going to be a place that people really do want to live, work, and play, as they say. It's easy to say it, but I think we do have that area where people want to enjoy life. Certainly, we've learned from COVID that no one's going to go back and work 90 hours a week and those things. They want that balance, and I think all of this really does help us. So, we talked a little bit about this, but I want to give you an opportunity if there's anything else you kind of want to say. But how do you define success, or how would you, if you were one of these new investors, what would success mean to you?
I think success is being comfortable. I think success is feeling that excitement when you close your doors at the end of the day, or hang up your phone at the end of the day, or just turn off your bedroom light wherever you're doing business and you just feel at ease. I think that's success.
Okay.
I just think that's the thing I think some of us or most of us are chasing.
Sure.
Ease.
Yeah. As we look, so I asked you a little bit about maybe what could we do more. You talk about events. So we just came off Bravo to Business. I got to count quickly on my fingers. I think about 2.5 months away from OWA Tonight, our annual meeting.
So fabulous.
It is. Thank you. It's going to be on February 12th. Pushed it back a little bit, kind of get out of that rush of the new year. But you talked about events and going. So what would you tell the small business owners that have become investors? How do they go? You've encouraged them to go, but now they're there. They're walking in the door and they're saying to themselves, what did I get myself into here? What would you encourage them to do and how to do that?
Well, if you see me, and I'll be wearing a name tag, it says Teva, I'm a safe space. And I think that's fabulous. But outside that, it is daunting. I remember the first few times kind of going to a chamber event. I really didn't know anybody. I didn't know what was happening. I probably went to the bar pretty quickly. To be honest, I have a little more Dutch courage. And you just make your way. I will say this about the people in the Chamber of Commerce, and probably more so the people in our community, is we're kind. And we know, sometimes you can tell, maybe somebody looks like a deer lost in the headlights or something. There are so many people who are going to have a conversation with you and will engage with you. Do not be afraid to extend a hand for a handshake and say, hey, I'm Teva, and I knew this is my first event. I guarantee that person will take you under that wing and they'll introduce you to other people and they'll be really good to you, because I really believe that's the kind of community we are. And I think that has been my experience. So yes, the first most difficult thing is probably walking out the door, getting in the car and opening up the doors of whatever event you're maybe going to. It's just getting there, right? Showing up is everything.
Yep.
Walk through those doors, find a friendly face, and extend your hand.
And I'll make sure Teva's right inside those doors for all of you, and he'll pass you off and make sure we do well. But
100.
But I really couldn't say that any better. I mean, it is, this really is a very welcoming, warm community. But it is taking that, you've got to take that first big step and just say, okay, I'm going to do this. But you're right. There are, whether it's a business after hours, or a morning networking, whatever, it's that opportunity to, again, build that network, but to find friends that you may never realize you may need them. And you could be friends with somebody for 20, and I've heard this over and over, 10, 15, 20 years. And all of a sudden there's something that you feel they can do to assist you, and they're there, and they'll never hesitate in doing so. So
Right.
appreciate that.
Yeah, just do it.
And it's easier to say. I get that.
100%.
I was talking to a group at the university last week, and I had a couple of students walk up to me, and they say, you're such a wonderful speaker, and I don't think I could ever do this. And I said, please understand, I've been doing public speaking in one form or another for close to 50 years. So I've got a little practice under my game here,
Yeah.
But I just having faith in yourself and saying it's okay.
Right.
And it's okay to stumble.
100% give yourself grace.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so many people think that I see everybody else, I've got to be at that level. And it's like, no, you got to work your way there, and just find how do you put yourself in that comfort zone to get there. So again, for those listening, for our new investors, for all of everybody, please mark your calendar for Thursday, February 12th is going to be our annual meeting. We're going to be out at the event district, and we're looking for a wonderful evening. And actually, if you have attended the annual meeting the last couple of years, watch a survey coming out to you shortly to kind of take a look at, what do we want to do now, and kind of looking for some input on all of that. So as we look at starting to wrap this up a little bit, and I always say that starting to because it takes me another, day or two to kind of get to the wrap up, actually, poor Chelsea, she has to edit these wonderful things. Again, I would just say to, those small businesses that have not taken the opportunity, again, if you have 5 or fewer employees, please, all you have to do is go to our website. I think it takes about 4 minutes, 5 minutes maximum to fill out the form. It gets sent in. We verify that you're actually here in Eau Claire and you're part of our fabric and our community. And that's it. So it doesn't take a lot. And then from there, you just start receiving information on, again, the programs we offer, the advocacy we do, the workforce efforts. The one thing I if I had to boil it all down, I tell people is by doing this, you're going to learn what we're doing for you that you didn't know somebody was doing for you. It's, again, doing those things that we can do as a collective and that any one business really couldn't do, by themselves. So, Teva, open the door for you here to any final thoughts or comments that maybe we didn't get to or that you'd like to share with our listening audience before we conclude today.
Yeah. So if you are listening out there and you are one of those people who have 5 or less employees and you're just getting started, I just say really do it. You have nothing to lose. You have a lot to gain. And this can be part of your adventure. This can be part of that building your business. This can be a part of it. And I think not doing so is a missed opportunity. And I'm being very sincere because I really love the Chamber, and I think and believe that they're going to be your advocate as well, because I know that's a fact.
True.
And I so appreciate that. So if you're thinking about it, just do it. Do the paperwork, show up, participate. You want to be in business, and this is a good place to do business too.
Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Again, I want to thank all of our listeners and sponsors for making this program available to everybody and being part of the Chamber. And until our next episode, nice talking with everybody, and we'll see you down the road.
And that's going to be a wrap. Thank you to Dave, Teva, our listeners, and our media sponsor, Royal Credit Union. If you are a small business or know of a small business that would qualify for the Courtesy Level Investor Program, visit our website at www.eauclairchamber.org, and you can find the webpage under the Investor Engagement tab. We hope you have an incredible Thanksgiving, and we will catch you all in the next one.